Hey folks, lesson 3 is all about position versus time graphs. So there's 3 videos in this lesson. The first one is just about what it is and some notes about how we talk about vectors. The second video is about position, displacement, and distance on these graphs. And the third video is about velocity on these graphs. So what it is, a position versus time graph is basically just a 2-dimensional representation of 1-dimensional motion. So objects that we're studying right now, they move in straight lines, like forward, backward, left and right, up and down. If we graph that information, we can graph it so that it shows up as a piece of 2-dimensional information. So we get time on one axis and position on the other axis. And so just this video is just about like the locations and what things mean. The positive quadrant of this graph can mean a number of things. It's the positive location. Everything's relative to 0. Remember that we get to decide a lot of the time where 0 is. So this can be like above. It can mean in front. It can often mean to the right. Those are the most common. But it's like all the words that represent the positive direction. Now, the negative quadrant here, if something has a negative position, then it might be below some reference point. It might be behind, or it might be to the left. And so, since we live in a 3-dimensional world, it makes sense to like talk about things in 3 dimensions. Okay. The last thing that I want to talk about is like what direction something is moving in. So if we have a graph that looks like this, we would say that this object is moving in the positive direction, because the position of this object is becoming more and more positive all the time. So we can use words like moving forward. We often use the word away. We're going to actually use motion detectors a lot in class. And moving away from the motion detector is going to give you a more positive position, move in the positive direction. And you can also say moving up, if something is moving vertical. And the last piece is like, again, if it's moving in the opposite direction, we have words and things for that. So this shaped line would be moving in the negative direction. And so the words we would use would be the opposites of these, right? So this object would be moving backward. Their position is getting more negative. They might be moving toward the reference. Now, I realized an error I'll address in a second, and then down might work. These away and toward, I made a mistake here, and I just want to address this. So away and toward are very special. They only apply in when we talk about motion detectors. So I just want to make a note is that these words only apply with things like motion detectors. Where there's without negative positions. In other words, like, if you can never be behind something, then you can use the words away and toward to describe that. So everything else is good, but that's just the only mistake there. All right, I'll see you in the next video.